Will you take a walk with me? I was having a conversation just the other day, and it's one I've had, a lot of times with a lot of different people. And I include myself in that as well, because I think it's something that we all need to be reminded of. What matters, what's most important. See, I'm much more concerned with attributes as opposed to competencies. You see, attributes are the things that we are. It's our character, it's our values, it's everything that we believe in and that we say that we're dedicated to. Competencies, on the other hand, these are the things that we do. They are our actions, our skills, the things that we're capable and proficient at. Now, I think it's true that our actions give flavor and texture, and they shape and help mold for others what our values and our virtues are. In other words, we can't talk the talk if we don't walk the walk. And our walk dictates, and it shows, it demonstrates what we value and what we believe in. And these are the things that I think that we really need to speak into as deeply and penetrate as far as we can to find the root cause of what we believe ourselves as an individual first, and then our family, and then our community, our nation, and our world. You see, if there's one thing that's true about me, it's I love this. I love getting off into the wilderness, walking in places where I feel like nobody has ever been before. A sense of wonder and exploration. It's amazing to me. I feel renewed and refreshed looking at the flowers, at the trees, listening to all these birds. The subtle sounds and the shades of color as it creeps to gray out in our horizon. And I love passing a river and dipping my hands into some cool glacier-fed water. You know what I'm saying? It's just cold ice, refreshing, and it seems like it should be safe and clear to do so, but truth be told, every time I take a sip of spring water, mountain river water, well water, I'm taking on risk. Taking risk on. You see, because it hasn't been filtered, hasn't been purified. There could be particulates out there, some hard minerals that can totally destroy and ravish a body. Growing up down in the Southwest, man, I know all about that. You see, I've drank from some water on the wrong part of town a few times, and I paid the price for it. I've had some really close friends from all walks of life who drank from some waters themselves, and they got tore up. And I think, when we look at it, we do have a couple different ideologies, a couple different mindsets when it comes to how we look at the world around us. You see, some people look at these rivers and these streams and these wells and these springs and they say, I can't drink from this water. I can't trust it. I've been burned too many times. My family has been burned. My community has been burned. It's destroyed us from the inside out. And I can't trust it anymore. You're not mistaken, man. There is some nasty water that's out there. And even just one strain of bacteria getting in your system, all it takes is one. And it can destroy a body. It can kill a body. And I think you got some other folks out there who've said things like, man, I've never been sick. I've never known anybody who's been sick. I don't think the sickness is all that systematic. I think maybe we're making some things up along the way, because everywhere I've been, the water has been clean and I've never had any issues myself. And for them and their journey and their walk, their story is true. And I think there's another group of people out there, a lot more sinister and diabolical. You see, they don't drink from the water. They don't not drink from the water. They drink water, all right, but they drink bottled water, right? It's been through some reverse osmosis. They have no problems drinking something behind the curtain and then coming out and telling you what's clean and what isn't. Legislating from behind a bench, telling you what's right and what's wrong without having the intestinal fortitude to get their own hands and their own feet dirty. Right? It's not politicians alone. You got media out there, you have celebrities who all want to lend, sometimes from a well-meaningful heart. They just want things to be better. I can't fault them for a longing and for perfect aim. Because our aim does need to be perfect. We're going to all miss the mark. I miss the mark all the time. And I think as we look closer at the whole breadth of the scenarios around us, regardless of what it is, regardless of how complex, it really comes down to how do we view humanity as a whole? How do we view ourselves? How do we view our family, our brothers, and our sisters? Do we truly view everybody with and through a lens of dignity and respect? Or just the people that we want to have some commonality with? Are we really careful to make sure that our message and our voice is heard and understood the way that I wanted it to be heard? Or am I letting preconceived notions destroy my own mind? I can't hear what another person is saying because I'm too busy asking my own answers rather than authentically asking some questions. It's funny the things you find out in the woods. A little shell casing. You know, think about this world that we live in. And the box that we make for ourselves. This box of ideology. It's kind of almost three-dimensional, right? And we see the form and we see the shape. Sometimes we get caught into thinking that it's only a physical structure. Maybe it's that weapon that's firing that chamber that gets seated into. Maybe it's the barrel that bullet is flying down. Maybe it's a hard wall of dogmatic thinking. But too many times, whether it's a physical structure, like an institution, an organization, whether it's political, religious, economic, social, we imagine the structure, and we imagine that at the center of this structure is pureness. It's sacred, it's holy. It's the right form or archetype. And we say if you want to be associated with this, you need to be inside our structure, inside our way of thinking. You have to align yourself with our platform if you want to be right. So you have to get inside from out here, inside this box. As long as you're anywhere in here, man, we can have a conversation. But if you're out here, if you're out over there, you're a heretic. You're damned. You're un-American. You can't be trusted. You're pushing socialism or McCarthyism. You need to realign yourself and come in here. Now, it can be true that proximity means something. I truly believe that. I think we all need to be closer to God. And when we are, things get burned off. All that chaff. All our ugliness can be renewed and restored. Ours, right? Ours first. Because the problem is, we see the center of something that we assume is the place to be, and we see something else that's in close proximity to it. So we assume that because of the proximity of the structure of the ideological structure, that it, by virtue of being associated near what we think is right, is right. But there's a problem. There's a problem with that. You see, in science, we know that we can understand one of two things at any point in time. We can understand a location, that proximity, or we can understand the trajectory, the movement. But we can't truly get both at the exact same time. We can't know both at the exact same time. And so though we think that something is in alignment because of proximity, what we fail to see is this other item, this other person, this other belief is moving away. It's moving out from what is true, good, and holy. Meanwhile, somebody from the outside that we say is damned, that we say is unorthodox, that we say can't be trusted, that is less than, is on a trajectory taking itself right to the heart, to the closest of close, beyond that holy of holy, until it's absorbed and only it remains. All these stereotypes we have, something has to change, and that thing is us. Will you walk with me, friend? Can we walk together? I think we can. Let's do this.